Happiness is beautiful, it's a kind reality. Happiness is the highest good, happiness is free. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.
Welcome to the Happiness Show. This is George Ortega. I'm here with Lionel Ketchian, and we're here to talk about happiness because happiness is, always has been, and always will be the point of it all. Today we're going to be talking about Duane Berry's happiness. Duane is our first guest in this special series where we're going to focus on the personal happinesses of different individuals. Okay, Duane, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Great. Okay, so let's start off. So I met you at a coffee shop here in White Plains, and the first thing I think I noticed about you is that you looked very happy. So how happy are you?
I'm really happy. I've been happy all my life, and it's funny you said you met me at Borders, if I could say that, at Borders bookstore,
right.
and I do things that make me happy, and going to Borders makes me happy. You know, I go right to the motorcycle section. I look at the motorcycle magazines, and I always seem to come over and say hi to you guys because you guys seem to be pretty happy too. You know,
yeah,
the little group there.
Well, so in a sense for your life, what keeps you very happy is that you're constantly focused on doing things that make you happy.
That's it. You know, from the minute I wake up in the morning, I'm doing things that are gonna make me happy, and I don't know, is that selfish? But
no, why no?
Good question.
Is that selfish? But that's where I focus. You know?
Actually, because I imagine like your happiness comes also because I know you're a very social person. You have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So you're with friends a lot, right?
Yeah, I am.
So I guess like while you're with friends, you're kind of like working to help them be happy also.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because friends do call me once in a while when they're down and out, and say, you know, here's what I'm going through, and I'm always trying to give them, like, look at the glass as half full, not as half empty, and you know, behind every cloud there is a silver lining. Somebody said that to me yesterday. I'm a caddy and I work at a country club, and this old time caddy said to me, because I lost my job at this prestigious club I was working at, and he said, everything, you know, turns out for the better. And he said, behind every silver cloud, every cloud is a silver lining, and I thought that was pretty cool. You know, he kind of like was helping me because I was a little down, you know, down and out. And I do have a lot of friends, and I try to surround myself with happy people too. You know.
Definitely, because we were talking before the show, and you said you've been happy throughout your entire life. So what do you attribute that to? Well,
it's funny, when I met Rita when I came here, my mother's name was Rita, and a little French lady from Canada. 14 kids in her family, so I know it was like, you know, a struggle up there for her because she you know, she made my own clothes for me when I was a little kid, but she had this phrase, que sera, sera, whatever will be, and I just lost my mom last spring, and the last word she said were life is beautiful. She said life is beautiful.
Wow.
And you know, I just try to carry that spirit, and her spirit was always you know, go, and just be positive, you know. Just be positive, and
cool.
I like what I was watching the last segment, and he talked about. I thought about that phrase by John Kabat-Zinn, where wherever you go, there you are. And you know, I got to tell you, I just talked briefly about I'm in recovery, and I got what they call the nudge from the judge in Croton. He kind of gave me a little vacation in Valhalla. I'm from Valhalla, in the penitentiary up there. I did like a little. Couple about sentenced to 60 days. I did like 49 days up there. I went the day before Thanksgiving. I got out the day before Christmas, and I'm in jail and I'm happy. You know, people are like in this type of environment where like there's a lot of unhappy people in there, and you know, I was happy, and it was kind of a threat to be happy around these guys, some of these guys up there. So I had to kind of tone it down a little bit. But the funniest thing is today I see the judge in the supermarket, and I run up to him and I say, "Thank you, Your Honor, for saving my life." You know, and I think forgiveness has a lot to do with being happy too. You know, if people, you know, attack you or want you not to be happy, you know, forgiveness has a lot to do with it. Because like my mother, you know, she was very, we talked about, you know, stern to me, but you know, through this program I'm in, this 12 steps program, I really able to forgive, any negative thoughts or any negative things that she's happened to ever done.
Yeah, because in my personal life, whether it's my parents or my friends, I kind of like take the attitude that, hey, we all do our best. We didn't create ourselves. There's some good sides to us and some are bad sides. And like with ourselves, we got to figure and accept ourselves, right? So we've got to be forgiving and accepting of other people, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
The 12-step program, I think they're great. There's so many different ones. Fortunately, I've never had to go through them, but unfortunately, I think what I've missed out on, because I've attended some just to know what they're like and that kind of thing, in my own research, the support system and the true integrity of the people there, the supportiveness, the friendliness. You miss out when you don't have that kind of a problem. But in a sense, what I'm saying to you is, you ended up benefiting from that 12-step program, from the people that go to it. A lot of love and support comes out of that, and it's almost like it's too bad you've got to have a problem in order to get that kind of benefit. But there is a real benefit there, and I guess you've experienced it.
There are a lot of people in there that say, thank God I went through the problem I did, that I was able to discover this, and it was almost when I heard you guys talking about how you guys help each other be happy. It rubs off, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
I also heard you guys say that too, and I'm just blessed to they call it a bridge back to life, and I've just been happy all my life, and my friends used to kid me when I was out there and I was a drunk. I said this before, that the only time they saw me unhappy is where I forgot where I put my beer down, kind of. But anyway.
Now, George, you raised an interesting question earlier. I want to bring it up on your behalf. George, I think, had thrown out a thought earlier. I don't think you answered it, but the thought was, how do you deal with people? Well, how do you deal with people that you're around that are unhappy? You kind of got into it a little bit, but do they change you? Do you become unhappy? How do you deal with? There are unhappy people out there.
There are. You know what? I'm into the surrender tactic. Where you got to surrender to win. And if they want to fight me, or they want to not be happy around me, move a muscle, change a thought. I'll try to remove myself from them.
Wow.
Or see if there's anything I can do to help them. And if there's not, some people just want to stew in their, stew in their.
You know what I do? Sometimes, a few of my friends will just be in a mood and start, complaining about something. And I'll kind of, joke around and say, hey, you're getting me down. Don't do this.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
true. And it works. Because, when you say something like that to a person with compassion and understanding and humor and all, they accept it. And
And if you're real about it, I think that makes it all the better.
Oh, yeah.
But I like what you said about if you could help them. I think, first of all, being peaceful and the surrender thing, I think that works right away.
Right.
Because then people don't look at you as a threat.
Right. Exactly.
Right? And boy, that's profound that you say if there's something you could do to help them. Now that's... So you're looking at their anger maybe as a call for help?
I guess so, what's going on there, that's not right, because I'm always happy, so being happy is right for me, so that's when that's how I feel all the time. And
have you ever seen that feeling of being happy actually change people? Have you ever seen that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
People need smiles, people need a hello. It's contagious,
You brought up something really interesting, and Lionel and I, we're going to do a show on this because it's so important. You're mentioning that when you were in jail, that you were very happy and you felt you had to tone it down because a lot of people there weren't very happy. We've talked about the idea of, and Lionel, you've actually done this, you've got to talk about this, about bringing happiness into the jails, because a lot of times the reason people go to jail and prison is because they're doing something to become happier that happens to be illegal.
Right.
So that the idea is if people go in there and teach them how to become happy the way you learned it, the way many people learned it, coming from just seeing things in the right way and being friendly and all that this would help the people who are in jail and prison to come out and not have to resort to crime to gain their happiness.
Fabulous idea. And I'll tell you what, guys and or women will be flocking to to the group. I've had the pleasure to go up there and share, you know, clean and sober, my experience. And these guys come around, and they're real attentive. They pay attention, and I'll never forget the night I was up there. It was fantastic, and I'm leaving the place and like going, you know, my number's in the book in Valhalla. You can look me up. And the guy that brought me there was like, oh God, you know, don't say that, you know. And I'm like, you know, that's how it was. But I'll tell you what, that would be awesome to do something like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
I'm volunteering right now. Bring me with you.
Because Lionel did this a few years ago.
I did a couple.
Limited basis.
And you guys are really saying, you know, you're really acknowledging what I learned. I didn't know this, but I never knew that I would find the most sincere and honest people in jail. I never knew that, because when they tell you something, they're not kidding around. They really mean it. If they say they love you, if they say thank you, they demonstrate it. You could see they really, really mean it with every pore of their body. And I had the sincere feeling after doing a couple of workshops with prisoners that when I left them, many people I see, you know, in New York, on the street, or working, are more imprisoned than they are because of their attitude and their helplessness and their, you know, and their confusion. They live in a state of being in prison without the bars, but they're just, you know, and maybe more so than prisoners, because prisoners get to realize that, look, I'm confined, but now I can make either the most of it or the worst of it. But their choices are limited, and it becomes easier to make the choice. But for you know, the normal everyday people, it becomes very complicated to be happy. We have everything to be happy, and yet we're not. But you know, my message to prisoners were, when you get locked up, you could either, one, choose to remain unhappy and miserable, or you really could choose to be happy even with this. And that, who knows what that could do, but they understood that concept, and if nothing else, they appreciated and they recognized that I was coming to them to bring them this message because I truly cared about them, and they acknowledged me for it. And it was the best feedback I've ever gotten in my life. I never did better groups than that, and I've done a lot of groups, but prisoners are incredible. They really are. And it's too bad that most prisoners learn, you know, if they go in because of drugs, it's too bad that they become even better drug addicts by being in prison. And it's too bad that if they're criminals, they become better criminals.
All right, so we're going to definitely work on that. We're going to do a show on this, and we're going to eventually promote it, because I mean it's idea, because like, you know, happiness is something that can be taught by anyone. I mean, the principles are so simple. So it's just the idea of getting people in there and teaching it.
Sure.
I want to touch on how happy my particular job makes me right now. I kid around and say I'm a recovering used car salesman, because I sold cars for many years, and it was a great job. I enjoyed it, but I'm a caddy now, and you've heard the expression, you know, I've heard the expression, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
And you know, my grandmother lived to be 102 years old, and Swedish lady, strong as an ox, grew up on a farm, always very happy, serene woman, and went for walks a lot, you know, walks, and I get paid go for a 4 or 5 hour walk every day, and so I'm a pretty happy camper at my job. And some of the people, to touch back on prison, that the guys that are working in the prisons, they don't make the atmosphere too happy for the guys that are in there, and because I don't think they're too happy. Think about it, your job being in jail, you know what I'm saying, to take care of these guys. So I've been pretty blessed to have a good job, you know, to keep me happy too. But
yeah, you bring up also an interesting point, like in terms of the prisons again. So it's not just for the prisoners; it's for the guards.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
You know,
and
that would help those guys be a little more happy too. You know.
Definitely. Because that you know, we could apply that principle to our government officials, our leaders, because like, to the extent that they're not happy, they're not really as concerned with the happiness of everyone else. So, you know, helping them become much happier, I think, will help us create a much better world, a much happier world.
Sure.
Beautiful.
Okay, Duane, now I'm going to ask you a question that if I were asked it, it's a two-part question. I would like focus on the second part and kind of like just go through the first part kind of quickly, you know, and I hope you do kind of like a similar thing. Basically, the question is like, we all have things in our life that threaten our happiness, that tend to, kind of like want to impinge our level of happiness. So for you personally, what are those things? And then what do you do to kind of like just nip them in the bud and just get back to your, great happiness?
George, try to give me like an example on something that could threaten my happiness. I want to know.
All right, like for me, it might be just like doing too much work. I'm on the computer for like 4 or 5 hours trying to get something done,
Right.
and I forget, hey, wait a minute, this is, I'm supposed to be having fun here.
Well, that's a good. I got it now. I'm a type of person that I want to say yes to everything. Yes, 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 yes. And sometimes you have to say no, and you have to just say, I'm not with that right now. And even at my job, sometimes I after walking around 18 holes in the sun, you're tired, but you come off the course and they want you to go back out again for another 18 holes, and it's hard to say no because of the money, but physically, after that next 4 hours out there, you're gonna feel like you got hit by a truck. So I think the thing is to say no to it, and when you're threatened by that, it's as hard as that can be sometimes, but and then when you say no, you feel good. You feel good about it.
Yeah, because I guess what you're saying is that like saying no kind of feels like that, well, you feel guilty, you want to please the person and all, and then you kind of realize, wait a minute, I'm important too, right? And so like you're kind of like being good to yourself, and that feels good.
Exactly.
We started the show with that. You said I get up in the morning and I go out and do things that I feel good about, and you said, isn't that selfish? And you were sort of asking a question. But no, it's happiness. Because if you're not feeling good, how are you going to be able to make anybody else in the world feel good? If you're not doing things to enrich yourself, then you're going to be miserable, to the people around you, unless you're being nice to them for money. But I got a feeling that when you're nice to people, you're nice to them genuinely.
It's funny you should say that, because it just comes natural to be nice to people, and
you think you make better tips?
It's funny that it's funny. I had the pleasure of caddying for President Clinton, and
cool.
I spent 6 hours with President Clinton, and
neat.
That guy is like, I've met a lot of people, one of the coolest guys I've ever met, and that guy's a happy camper, and he's in a hurry to go nowhere, unlike me. And everybody asks you, did the president give you a tip and stuff like that? And he was very generous to me, and he was just so cool. It was unbelievable. They were like, when I went to work, that they were like, the president's coming up, and don't be hugging the president, and because I'm always hugging the members. And there I was, hugging the president, and I got my picture with my arm around him at the end of the round, and it was a real thrill. It was a real thrill to be out with President Clinton, yeah. And he's a pretty decent golfer too.
That's cool. Well, let me ask you something. What do you think separates President Clinton from, let's say, the other people around him sometimes, or other people that you golf with? I mean, what is it that allows him to be, so much cooler and more happier?
Just as a golfer too, nothing bothers him as a golfer too. He takes the level. There's a phrase in golf, hit him till you're happy, which is like a mulligan kind of thing, and he takes that to a new level. I mean, if he doesn't like his shot, he puts another ball down and he hits another shot until he likes it. So he's just fun to be around, and it was like once in a lifetime experience for me. But there's an expression in golf, hit him till you're happy. Almost like in tennis when the first ball in on the serve, and he just took that to a new level, and I loved him for that. That was a lot of fun being out with him.
Well, we'll have to get Clinton on the show and find out what he thought of you.
Oh yeah, he's right out in Chappaqua.
It was great.
That's a cute story. That really is. So I was almost thinking of the movie Bagger Vance.
Bagger Vance.
You're kind of like the cool guy, the cool caddy who's really helping. I get a feeling you help people more than golf. You know what I mean? Beyond golf. Do people ever start the game miserable, look at you a few times, and then feel a whole lot better?
Well, you know what? As a caddy, sometimes you have to kind of be a ninja and be in the background. But I do kind of sometimes overstep my bounds a little bit and try to help people with their games. But it depends on what level of golfer they are. If they're a beginner and they're open to a few suggestions.
Yeah, but I'll bet you I'm not a golfer, but let's say I messed up a shot and I was really serious about the game. Maybe he looked over at you. I would bet I'd be seeing you smile at me, and you might say to me, "Oh, that's all right. You'll do better next time," or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I was sitting out in the control room, what movie did I think of? Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
That's a guy you guys got to get on the show. Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Gilmore, right? The guy was always happy. You know.
Yeah.
Did you like that movie? Did you see Happy
Yeah, it
Gilmore?
was cute. I
gotta
saw
see that. I
some
haven't seen it.
previews.
I'm sorry I
of
didn't
it.
answer your question,
Yeah.
but
No, you did. But I get a feeling that you could elevate the state of anybody who's who you're near. That's what I get a feeling.
Like I said, it's
I'll be honest
contagious.
with you. First time I met you, you know, it was walking into the studio, and immediately I said, "Hey, this is a happy guy."
Thanks,
you know,
man.
and you know, it just shows. You know, I mean, you it's beyond everything. It's just something that you send forward ahead of you. It's great. It's great stuff.
Thanks, Lionel.
Yeah.
All right, so Duane, like, here's a statistic. The average level of happiness for most people here in the United States is like only 70%.
Right.
And that's I mean, that's happy, but it's not very happy. Kind of like in school, that's kind of like a low C and stuff. So let me ask you something. Why do you think we here in America aren't as happy as we could be?
I don't know. Why aren't we as happy as we could be? I think, you know what? You were talking about, it's not quantity, it's not quantity of the things we have. We're always striving for more, you know? I think there's a slogan in the rooms, less is more, you know? I don't know why we're not happier, you know?
No, I think that's perfect. 'Cause
we've
like,
got it all.
We're talking about money because, like, I think maybe in your personal experience, were you making more as a car salesman than as a caddy?
I was making more as a car salesman than as a caddy, a lot more, and just, I got to tell you, now that I'm not living the lifestyle that I was when I was a car salesman there for a while, I have more than I know what to do with, which is a blessing. But that job was a lot of fun. The car sales job was a lot of money, and you know, it just.
Oh, wait a minute, because I was on the wrong track, though. I thought that you might have left the car salesmanship to find something you like better, but you like that also, which is great.
Yeah, I love I love selling cars too.
Cool.
I mean, you know, I've done everything from being. I tell you what, my first job was a dishwasher, and speaking of,
You like that job too, though,
see,
right?
I did like being a dishwasher, but speaking of something that pushed my buttons, you know, at the end of the night, it's time to sign out, and the boss goes to you, you know. I signed you out a half an hour ago. I mean, yeah, you know, stuff like that about being threatened, about, you know, my happiness being threatened, and you know, again, I was like, well, if you're gonna do stuff like that to me, I think I'm gonna find another job, you know.
Right.
But
because we dealt with that. We just did a show on acceptance, and it's the idea that, like, you know, when somebody isn't kind to us or doesn't treat us with fairly or something, that, I mean, the world's not perfect, right?
Right.
So we've got a choice. We can either say to ourselves, well, we can deal with this. This person can be that way, but it's not going to affect my happiness. Or, as you were saying, we could just move to a different place,
Exactly.
and either strategy will work.
move to a different place, exactly.
Oh, that's great. Well, how about unhappiness? What's that caused by? Have you experienced it much?
Of course, you know, we all experience it. It's just a matter of not staying there, you know, too long. You know, I mean, we lose our loved ones. I lost my mom
A year ago, you said.
a year ago, and it's funny. I developed sciatica, and I didn't develop sciatica, and it seems like our higher power, God. One day I went to caddy at this other club, and I got this older woman. You guys mentioned wisdom, I think, in the last show too, with a lot of wisdom, and she said, and she had just lost her husband, and I said, I've got sciatica here, and it's been bugging me, and she goes, and I told her I just lost my mother, and she goes, that's like things coming out of you, like from your system, from losing your mother, and just her words of wisdom, you know, helped me. I gotta believe back pain is a lot, as they say, psychosomatic a lot, and it just helped me to like heal my sciatica. And just her saying, you know, it'll be all right. You know, mom's in a better place, and I mean, that's you know, dealing with the loss of a loved one is not.
Actually, Duane, because that's about 2 years ago. My mom died, and emotionally, I was fine with it. You know, because she was like, she was in pain, and it was kind of like a blessing. She was kind of elderly, but my stomach cramped up for about a month. I started studying chronic pain, and that was painful to just like be studying this pain all the time. So then I remembered that back in '85 I had studied happiness for a while. I went back to that, and that's what led to like all this research in the show and all. So it's like, you know, things happen for a reason, and sometimes for a very good reason.
Yeah.
That's amazing you can say that, because this is a true story. I picked up a book that Nathaniel gave us. I know you know Nathaniel, on holistic medicine. And I was reading the chapter on sciatica. The next day I woke up with sciatica. Could you imagine that? So I think we got to be careful what we read too.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That leads to something. A lot of times, like the research shows that a lot of television just kind of like makes people kind of like mildly depressed and all. So like in your personal life, how much TV do you watch?
I don't watch TV at all. I really don't.
Really?
I mean, I
That's
watch,
good.
you know, like the World Series and like, you know, the Super Bowl and, you know, maybe like snippets of, you know, of sporting events. Golf. I watch a lot of golf, obviously, but
You don't watch the news?
I try not to watch the news. I mean,
I don't either, because like it's so depressing.
It is.
What do
It
you, what do
is.
you do with all that negative information?
Exactly. You don't.
Right,
We don't
exactly.
need that.
How do you process that? You know.
It could end up affecting you, as we're talking about here. You know.
I mean,
Yeah.
As we were saying, sometimes it's best to just move to the different situation. Yeah.
exactly.
Great. So who gets credit with all this wisdom that you've? Because boy, the way you live, I think it's not only happiness, but there's an awful lot of wisdom that you seem to be generating.
I don't know. Just who gets credit? I mean, I read the Bible. I meditate on Scripture a little bit, and you know, like the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. I have everything I need, and just I don't know. I'm just blessed.
You feel
know?
blessed.
I'm blessed. I mean,
Yeah.
So you're grateful.
I'm grateful. I have a lot of gratitude, and you know, I'm sponsoring a young guy now in the program, and you know, I think he appreciates the little things I do, and I'm always upbeat and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And,
I bet you come alive by helping others in that area.
you know what? I don't know. It's just a natural thing. You know, it's not something I go out of my way to do. And like I said, is it selfish to want to be happy all the time? I don't know.
Definitely not. Definitely not, because
know.
that's what everybody needs. And I think you're a great inspiration for
Yes.
so many people who see you up there, you know, here, and just like demonstrating the great happiness is really possible for us all. Okay, well, all right. But that's all we have time for today.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
watching, and thank you, Duane.
Thanks for having me on.
Cool. Okay, in the future we'll explore other topics designed to help us better enjoy life. Think well, feel good, feel very happy, and I hope you join us again next time here on The Happiness Show.
Hey.
Happiness is powerful, it's our underlying need. Happiness is why we live each day. Happiness is destiny. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.